Controller kings wearing digital crowns. Legends never. From the shadows, rise up, hear the name.
An introduction to a self-proclaimed PvE tier list is in order, as the upcoming launch of Legend of Ymir on October 28, 2025 means all rankings are based on early Korean play, cryptic dev notes, and the hopes and dreams of future players. Treat this as less of a definitive guide and more as a witty, preemptive eulogy for the low-tier classes. After all, what's an MMORPG launch without a deeply personal, completely subjective tier list? This is just my take, so don't be surprised if your own tier list looks totally different. Now let's start with PvE tier list, and this is my list. Top 1 is the Veilvar, with Rice and Lightning. Is what happens when a fortune teller decides she's done with vague predictions and would rather just annihilate the future. She is the undisputed queen of farming, a little tornado of elemental spells whose AoE damage is so generous, her kills per hour are probably illegal in some countries. Her primary job in PvE is to look at a group of monsters, sigh, and then instantly vaporize them to gather more crafting materials for her far less efficient friends. She may be a glass cannon, but in PvE, the monsters rarely get close enough to shatter her. Her ranged nukes turn the battlefield into a glorified snow globe of death before the enemies can even finish their charging animation, while not topping the AO charts like the Veilvar. Her single target damage and auto-attack optimization are so potent that she essentially serves as a beautifully designed, highly efficient arrow turret for boss fights and high-value targets. She proves that sometimes precision is the best crowd control by eliminating the big threat before it can summon a crowd. You'll find the archer happily plinking away, perfectly positioned to avoid all the ground effects while everyone else tags them for a slightly higher DPS number. She's the person who brings the spreadsheets to the dungeon run, knowing the exact rotation and optimal distance for maximum output, thereby ensuring that her contribution is reliable, deadly, and entirely unexciting to watch. The Skald, the game's primary support, is in a curious spot. She's absolutely mandatory for the toughest endgame content, but has to aggressively justify her existence during the grind. Her PvE tier is defined by the moment you stop needing to farm mobs and start needing to keep a warlord alive while he tries to solo a raid boss. Until then, she's the class awkwardly trying to fit her buffs and tiny damage over time dot skills into a Velva's speedrun through the low-level zones. However, once a raid starts, she transforms from an enthusiastic minstrel into a strategic powerhouse, trading her mediocre solo power for group-saving heals and crucial utility that keeps the entire power. Aside from becoming flawed decorations, she's the class you secretly roll on an alternate character for your main survival, and then begrudgingly admit is the only reason your latest legendary drop wasn't a repair bill. Warlord, the meat shield with an ego. The Warlord is built like a tank and hits like a smaller, slightly less motivated tank, a necessary evil in the game's PvE structure. His primary skill is aggro management, which is a fancy way of saying he has the dubious honor of standing in the biggest puddle of red and keeping the boss's attention of the squishy people who act. Yule deal damage. His personal clear speed is a leisurely jog compared to the flashier classes, which means a warlord name is a person of immense patience, or someone who just really likes the sound of a spear hitting a monster's armor, while his crowd control is respectable. The warlord often feels like a mobile piece of fortified terrain for the rest of the group to hide behind, and his solo experience is essentially a test of endurance. He's not here for a fast farm. He's here for the moral satisfaction of knowing that without him, your archer would have taken a dirt nap 3 minutes into the dungeon. And now for the last one. Berserker, the enthusiastic underdog. The Berserker is the purest form of melee DPS. A class so dedicated to being up close and personal that he often spends more time running to the next pack of monsters than actually fighting them. He is, regrettably, the class that makes the biggest noise for the lowest payoff in a farming scenario, a beautiful hurricane of axes whose effective range stops just shy of the monster he's trying to hit. You love him for his sheer, unadulterated aggression. But you can't help but notice that the Veilver finished clearing the screen while he was still charging his first mighty leap. We conclude this PvE tier list with the understanding that while the Veilver currently reigns supreme as the ultimate farming machine to clear, cold-hearted efficiency expert in the grind, this dominance comes with a massive footnote. Her high ranking is a testament to the fact that in the early 2-mid game of any new MMORPG, the ability to obliterate large groups of enemies for loot and experience is the truest measure of power. Leaving the melee classes to admire her prowess from the dirt-stained sidelines, she offers the fastest path to gear and progression, essentially giving her main an economic advantage that the other classes have to compensate for, with sheer perseverance. And that wraps up our definitive PvE tier list. We've covered all the characters and our personal rankings for player versus environment content. But don't worry, we're not done yet. Keep an eye out for our next video, where we'll be tackling the brutal world of player versus player and giving you our official PvP tier list. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Watch and Gaming for more content, and let us know your biggest disagreements down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.